And if we ask the stars what they mean, what would they say back to us? Welcome! You want to go on a card journey today? Give me some of your time, and I'll give you some of your story. Well, let's see what the cards say. Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to Koi Plays Tarot. My name is Koi, and I'm going to be your tarot card reader for today. This is a set of quick announcements. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That way when uploads are made, you can see what the stars are trying to say to you. Also, if interested, individual reads are back up and open. Either message or email me directly. Link is on main, and we'll set it up, okay? So, Virgo, what are we seeing in this round of reads? This is going to be your career read for the month of June. Career as in opportunities, ventures, partnerships, projects, basically what we put our labor and our efforts into and what we hope to get back in return. Not simply the monetary coin, though it is nice, but also what else can be garnered out of it. Yeah. So as a preamble to the read, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but don't always be so willing to reverse. At times, if it gets difficult, understand that I, as your tarot card reader, I'm not here to misguide you or mislead you. Trust me, I got 12 signs to do and none of the time to lie to any of them. Instead, we lay our cards out on the table, and good or bad, come rain or sunshine, we'll talk about it, because at the end of the day, tarot is a conversation, just an energetic one. Yeah. So follow along with me in your read today, Virgo, your career read. And yeah, let's see what the cards say. We're going to do a past, present, future, starting with the past over here. Show us the cards we need to see, please, for Virgo in this read. What cards we need to see, please, for Virgo in this career read today. Nice, but it just didn't hit the table, so I can't take. Cards we need to see, please, for Virgo in this career read. Okay, Three of Cups. What was the importance of being on that dynamic? Ten of Wands, my apologies. The burden that is held. Okay, let's talk about it. Judgment. Second highest of the major arcana. What's more valuable, the labor or the team? I'm seeing a situation, Virgo, where either, how should I put this? There's two possible scenarios that are playing out here, and one more likely than the other. The first is that we have to ask, are our work buddies our friends, or are they just really collaborative teammates, right? That Three of Cups, just because we have a good, amicable relationship doesn't necessarily mean that that should come before the job and the labor that we have to accomplish, right? So the learning lesson here, what's more valuable? What about your friends? The second, the burden that we sit with of the work that we do, can it actually be done in a team, and can it be done equally, right? That Three of Cups there's just this dynamic of, we're a little bit too friendly, or that there's something that's going beyond professionalism here, where we're left with the burden of, okay, we can be cool, but we still got to get things done. What about accomplishing the task? And so that's a repeated thing coming up of, okay, the lesson is our relationship to others, even at the job, just because something's, friendly, nice, and at the very least amicable and not hateful at all, does that necessarily mean that having that good social dynamic comes before the job we got to accomplish? Because there's this almost like this teetering point between, okay, we're cool, we're friends, good, whatever, we got to get the job done. And it's almost as if it's the reason why the Ten of Wands is coming out is because it's starting to bear on you that, oh crap, we're behind in productivity or whatever we need to do just to get the bare necessities done here. Okay, makes sense. Doesn't make you mean, it just means you have observation skills, right? Next, down the middle, shows cards we need to see, please, in the present tense. What of the here and now? What are the cards that Virgo needs to see, please, in their career read? Ace of Wands. Okay. Fired up. Why so? Six of Wands. Okay. Victory is had in regards to. Okay. There we go. Five of Wands. All fire in your present. You're actually calling a spade and addressing the ongoing issue amongst the group dynamic that, hey, we can be friends. We can be, very amicable, et cetera, et cetera. But when push comes to shove right now, we're not performing in the way that we need to be, right? This is not getting done because we're putting friendship before the job. And I know it sounds kind of cruel, Virgo, but the reality of the situation is that you noticed it back here, right? That's why judgment was coming up. We noticed the dynamics. We saw what we saw. We still tried to build, hey, this may not be perfect, but it's workable. Here, the way that we get forward is by addressing the conflict directly. We're calling it out. And is it the most copacetic thing to do? No. But what else is there to do, right? If it wasn't a burden, the Ten of Wands wouldn't come out, right? The Ten of Wands is a card where we just have all this weight that's bearing down on our shoulders, it's bearing down on our back. We can't carry it any further. It's so tiring. But it's interesting that in career read, that Ten of Wands is tied to a Three of Cups, which means the relational dynamic between a group of people, right? You put that together, what lesson do we have left to learn? Is that we could have good, amicable, and great relationships and simultaneously examine that we're not meaning the things that we need to do to get this project done. What gives, right? It doesn't make you a bad person for calling it out. It just means that you got to have the uncomfortable conversation. We're still cool. It's no bad blood between anybody, but what are we doing? Okay. Next, in the future, show us the cards that we need to see, please. Future orientation reading. What are the cards that we need to see, please? Future orientation for Virgo in this reading today. Six of Pentacles. Okay. Getting back on track with everyday investment. How so? Three of Swords. Okay. Heartbreak, a disappointment that comes through. Oh, got it. Well, things do balance out, but some of the friendly dynamics come to a crash. The Tower. And underneath it all, the Magician. Hey, we have the option. We can call this out, or we could just say, hey, it is what it is. But your future orientation, Virgo, what is said will cause a rift in the dynamic. That much is very clear. It may also lead to somebody leaving the team. I'm going to be very blunt and clear about this. What is said, the things that you're trying to address, is ultimately going to lead to, it's probably going to lead to somebody in this very friendly group dynamic to just bounce. And it is what it is. There's more things happening beyond, just the decisions and the things that you say and make. But we got to realize the work is still getting done. Six of Pentacles, the everyday things that we do to invest and make things go right. That is what matters here, right? And does it break up, the buddy system of whatever's been happening? Yeah, but we're here to do a job. And whatever that means for you, Virgo, remember, we can be friendly, but we are trying to do the work first. Friendship does have to come second. We would like it to all happen at once. I mean, if you're going to be, working with a group of people for the majority of the day, you might as well be on good terms, right? But it isn't always about, being each other's best friends. Sometimes it's just about getting the job done. And it sounds cruel, but it is effective for what you're trying to do. So, okay, that makes sense. And underneath the Magician, what are we trying to make manifest and come forth? Is it just our friendship, or is it the goal of why we are here? Okay, so let's look at the cards connection, what's happening in between, both the past and present orientation of Virgo's career read. Nine of Cups. What would make me the most fulfilled here? What would be the right thing to do? King of Wands. Being able to bring that energy out to make a much better and formulated decision. Hermit, card of Virgo. Okay. Somebody's got to say it. It's got to be me. Very clear, Virgo. To make the bigger vision happen, to make what we need to do happen here in this situation, you kind of take it upon yourself to say, hey, we need to have a talk. You're going to be the one who breaks that ice. How you do it, that's up to you. But it's being very clear that other people see the problem, but hey, we're just along for the ride. What are we left to do? Between the present and future orientation, so it's cards that we need to see, please, for Virgo in this reading. Between the here and now and the what if. Strength, card of Leo. Okay. Why are we fostering internal fortitude? Six of Wands. Okay. So a conclusion is had in the aftermath of the sad conversation. And Temperance. You didn't want to have to say it. Right? I know it's tough, Virgo, but who else was going to say it? Who else was going to do it? I'm still left at, as your reader, I'm left at the crossroads. You feel like you're between a rock and a hard place, but if things are not said, you do not see anything positive developing from it, right? The dynamic continues, and in fact, it gets worse. If things are said, you risk it being taken in such a terrible direction that it doesn't end well. And yeah, you have to say at the end of the day, what is more important? A tower moment will eventually happen. You've already concluded it because there's no nice way you could say whatever you're about to deliver. However, here's where we are. What do we do with it? Underneath it all, judgment. The truth of what we manifest, what are we actually aiming for? I think there's a way to deliver it differently. I'll leave that up to you, Virgo. But at the end of the day's gonna end. And by the time we get there, we gotta decide how we feel about it and what we're willing to do and what we're willing to risk. We can like the people that we work with, the people we collaborate and are partner with, the purpose of our labors and our endeavors. That is all well and good. However, if it's getting in the way of accomplishing the job just to say that, oh, we're cool, we're friends, then what we're left with is a work site full of friends and not much being done. What do we do beyond being in good standing with each other? Okay? As we move towards resolution, define the major arcana from across the table for Virgo in their read. We will first look at judgment, second highest. Why so? What lesson is there to be learned? We start there and push forward. Yep. Five of Wands. Yeah, this cannot go unaddressed. You've seen it enough. No need to debate. It just needs to happen. To the Tower. Ace of Cups. Okay. Somebody has to find a new renewal. Is it going to be them or is it going to be you? I'm not saying this as, a desperation survivalist tactic, Virgo. I mean, quite literally, if they want to leave, they have their choices. But what do you want to get out of this? Because it's already hard enough that you got to make this decision. What then are we left to do with that? To the Hermit. 10 of Wands, the burden that we carry. With that Hermit, we're here. It's being left up to you to point out the obvious a lot rather than us just acknowledging that the obvious exists. That's all well and good. Who are we left to be afterwards? That's what I'm more concerned with. To strength, Eight of Pentacles. We know this job, this project inside and out. What do we need to do for it to make it happen? We need to go forward. And so, before I say what I was about to say, to Temperance, Nine of Pentacles, yeah. The long-term investment is not necessarily the fun one. It is not necessarily the one that's going to make everybody happy. It just says what it is. And the crossing pattern of the Hangman was trapped in suspension, what we're trying to observe. The Tower, yeah. Inevitability, you're going to be the one who breaks the news. And is it going to be fun? Absolutely not. But is it necessary? Absolutely. Resolution, we're grateful for the little things. The gratitude that, hey, this was a great team. This was a great opportunity. However, Emperor, a choice must be made. I don't know if you're dealing with Aries, but this is a card of Aries. Underneath it all, Wheel of Fortune. Hopefully things can change all for the better, no matter the outcome. Ooh, here's what we're seeing you read today, Virgo. You're going to be the one who breaks the ice about a long-standing, basically, a relational dynamic at the job or the project where our friendliness, our amicability with each other is getting in the way of work being done. And you're going to be the one who unfortunately has to say the hard thing. It's going to get taken a multitude of different ways. And ultimately, it might end up in somebody from your team or somebody your collaboration parting ways completely. And you have to accept that. In understanding this, and I don't think there's enough seen about what you do on your end, but hey, somebody got to say it, and somebody got to do it. It just is what it is right now. It's just where we are. And is it fun? Absolutely not. But you still got to do what you got to do. Because if you don't say it, it gets worse. Why do you got to do the hard stuff? That's all I got on your read today, Virgo. I hope this conversation helps. And yeah, have the hard conversation now. It makes everything else easier later on. I'll see you around, okay? Take care.